And we are live. So, welcome to episode 219 of An American Werewolf in New Jersey. I am the American Werewolf. In the house tonight, we've got John K. Alvarez. Or am I? Or is he? Or, he's a bad man. So, and we've got Eric from Hey Internet Eric here.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you both for joining me. We haven't had a live stream here in, I'd say, 6 weeks. I think the last live stream we had was February 1st, and that was to celebrate the 3-year anniversary of the show. And we did top 5 favorite villains.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what, we're going to have and we had started it, Eric and I, the cold and scary. As you know what, sort of subplot. But then, I don't know, I just sort of lost my enthusiasm for it. And I tried a couple of other types of content that I put up on the channel, and all of a sudden, the fucking channel exploded, kind of, sort of. And it was nice, actually, taking a break from having to screen movies. Which it's kind of time consuming, and I enjoy doing it. We were going into the 4th year, and 3 straight years of screening movies, sometimes 1 time to 2 a week, and then to come on and live stream and discuss them. It's time consuming.
Oh, yeah.
So it was nice with just uploading relevant content onto the channel, not to have to spend 90 minutes or 2 hours or 3 hours or however many hours it takes over however many days to watch something. But then, after, and like I said, it's been 6 weeks. Here we are, from February 1st to March 15th. The urge to come back and discuss a film again sort of returned. And so I was glad that we kind of skipped over the cold and scary thing, because some of the movies that I picked were kind of difficult for other people to access. And so I said to myself, what is it that we can do to, find something that everyone can talk about, because everyone has different streaming options. And I started to look, let's see what's on Tubi, because everyone has access to Tubi. Most people can agree on, the things that we find there, so on and so forth. And then I saw that Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor had come to Tubi. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. I go to the place and I see exactly what it is that I want to do. And there we are. So that told me that I was on the right path. I checked with everybody else. Hey, who wants to do Possessor? And I got 4 of us. 3 here tonight because Bill is off chaperoning some sort of kid dance at the school that he works at. But I am glad to be here discussing it now with you. So if you're ready to go, shall we get it going?
Yeah.
Let's get it on.
Boogie woogie. So I honestly didn't know that Brandon Cronenberg existed. What was happening was that I was, you lay there at night with your iPad or whatever, and you're looking for something to watch because you can't sleep. And this shot just kept appearing in the horror genre and I was like, I don't know what this is. I didn't notice that it said Brandon Cronenberg. I just kept scrolling past. And then one night I just said, what the hell with it? I'm going to watch this thing. I keep seeing it. It's not going away. Maybe I'll give it a shot. And within 5 minutes, I was completely brought in. Completely, I was sold. And since then have become a Cronenberg fan. We talk a lot about Eggers and Ari Aster, but I have to put Brandon Cronenberg in there as one of those new guys that is doing it. Are those three necessarily at the same level as like Nolan and Villeneuve? Probably not, but they're definitely right there in the upper tier, if not the top tier. And since then, I've also picked up his his premiere movie, Antiviral, and then his latest, which was Infinity Pool with the Skarsgårds and Mia Goth. And the Skarsgårds are becoming like some sort of Hollywood first family. They're everywhere, and deservedly so. But I had been talking to Eric for forever about Possessor after I saw it, and I finally got him to watch it.
Yeah, you sent me a copy.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I sent you a copy, and then good reviews there. John, was this the first time you had seen it? Let's go around, John, and then Eric. What you thought of the film?
Yeah, I kind of went through what you went through, Mike. I kept seeing the poster pop up, which is on the cover of the DVD you were showing, or the Blu-ray you were showing, and then I saw another one that was red. Right. Same cover, but it was red. And that's when I figured out that was an edited version of the movie by like a minute and a half.
Yeah.
They cut like a minute and a half off. But when I kept reading Cronenberg, I'll be honest, I thought it was David Cronenberg. I didn't realize he had a son that was doing this either. And then when I saw it, I got into it. And I got to admit, it took me a little while to get into it. Not because I didn't want to get into it. I didn't know if I was just not in the right frame of mind. I didn't know if I forgot what it was like to watch a Cronenberg style movie, because you do that is an experience that you got to get through. But I eventually literally stopped, got up, walked around my house, studied my lines for a show that I'm doing, and then went back to watch it and started getting into it. I had to get into that frame of mind. And I actually found myself enjoying it a lot. It was science fiction-y and action-y and psychological thriller, I thought.
Okay. Eric, what do you got? What did you think?
This movie for me was a lot to process. I didn't know what I was like. You guys, I did not know David Cronenberg had a son.
Yeah.
And my Cronenberg, I guess you'd say filmography history is very small. The Fly, History of Violence, The Dead Zone, maybe one or two others that I just can't think of off the top of my head, but it's very less than a handful. So, and I know you were really digging this movie, and you pumped it up, and then you sent me the R-rated version, and I watched it, and kind of like John, you have to be in the right mind frame, because once you get past that opening scene, it is a total mind fuck from beginning to end, and you can really see the influence of his dad with not just body horror, but just graphic images and uses of violence. But what I liked about this, it's a really fucking cool story. And it's got great performances. I'm always a sucker. Existence. That's the other Cronenberg movie I can think of, because it had Jennifer Jason Leigh in it as well.
Right.
She's always great. She's in this. Sean Bean is always great. Yeah. And then there's a lot of times where I was yelling at the movie because of what happened. Not just because certain scenes made me mad. We'll talk about like the ending scene, the ending confrontation. But I'm like, wow. And then I did my review for it on my channel, and then I was waiting for you to finally pull this one out of your back pocket, because I know you did eventually want to talk about this on the show.
Yeah, the availability was what I was a little concerned about, and I feel that a lot of the movies that we discuss here deserve 3 to 4 people on here to break it down. This isn't a movie I'd want like 2 people to talk about with. I want to get more than one perspective, more than 2 perspectives. What I loved about this movie, to the best of my knowledge, I have seen no other concepts like it. Nothing like this at all. It is simply an original story. I love the visual effects, all practical effects. all practical effects. The use of like that introductory scene where we see the water fountain and the water sort of freezing. That's actually Cronenberg used sound to freeze the water in place. Just all the colors. I haven't talked in a while, like on a live stream in a while. I'm a little out of practice. The use of colors. There was no grading. All of that was like legitimate. So visually, it's just it's stunning to look at. It's a different type of body horror from what we see from David Cronenberg, but to me, it seemed a bit edgier.
Yeah.
It's like sort of the difference, and this is a very poor comparison, but it's sort of the difference between Stephen King and Joe Hill. Joe Hill's stuff has a bit more of a 90s kind of edge to it.
Right.
You know, that kind of grunge kind of feeling the things, that sort of thing. This had that sort of feeling to me. Great casts, original story, great performances, and just a story I had never heard of before. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Mike. You were going good. I was just going to jump in on what you said about never seeing something like that before. But go ahead.
Just it's characters, within characters playing other characters. There's just so much depth there.
Right.
And it's just such a fantastically written story. And Andrea Riseborough, who plays Tasia, who plays Vaz. I know Bill said he would have preferred, to see Tilda Swinton in the role. And she does have that look.
Yeah, she definitely
she kind of has a Tilda, Swinton look. But I thought she did a fantastic job. Jennifer Jason Leigh as the facilitator. Gerder, who's slowly trying to pull her away from her normal life. So that she can just do this and become her successor. She's devious. But she's honest also at the same time. You know, the way you see Voss slowly losing pieces of herself with every time she goes in there, she comes back and there's a little bit less. And then we get to the end and we see the mounted butterfly and she forgets that she ever felt guilty anymore. And that's the final step that Jennifer Jason Leigh was looking for.
Actually, Mike, I'll even go to say that she didn't forget. She just no longer feels guilty.
Yeah, she doesn't care anymore.
She just doesn't care, or has become colder. I mean, this is why I said that it's a horror story, but it's also a thriller. She's an assassin. I mean, technically, she's like James Bond, or someone in that vein, but using. It's funny because the one thing that I noticed that I felt that there was a lot of homages, in my opinion, or you could tell the son was influenced by the father, with some of the style of storytelling. But like when you were saying Bill was talking about Tilda Swinton, she to me reminded me would have been a reminder of Minority Report with Tom Cruise, because she was similar, being a psychic though, guessing the crime and things like that. I would have loved to see Tilda Swinton in the Jennifer Jason Leigh role too. As much as I like Jennifer Jason Leigh, but to have her as the one I've been there before, because technically she was. I really loved it. The layers you're talking about is that David Cronenberg was horror. It really was. This is more to it. It's horror mixed with action, mixed with political intrigue. And some of the things that I read up on afterwards was social content. The concept of looking in your, through your computers and,
the whole data mining thing that Sean Bean's company was doing, sort of going through people's cameras for whatever information that they could, they wanted to know your drapes. It's every possible small thing that, that they could collect, and then, hey, this guy's got all this information. Why don't we just kill him? His stepson really hates him because he,
Right.
Sean Bean usually plays like an honorable, guy who ends up getting the chop. Here he's just playing a straight up corporate asshole.
Yeah, God. I love Sean Bean and everything. We all know the trope. Very rarely you can count less than 5 times how many times he's lived in a film.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's his trope. He usually, like you said, the honorable guy, whether it's, Lord of the Rings or
Game of
even
Thrones.
though, for the longest time until he became the bad guy, GoldenEye, because he was James Bond's partner for a while. But then, like you said,
Games,
Game of Thrones, like you said. But here he is from beginning to end. He is just an asshole. Like you want to just like if you were sitting across from him like at dinner, you would just want to punch him in his face and leave type of thing. But he's so good at it. I've never hated Sean Bean until this movie. You know what I mean?
When he's drinking with his daughter at the table and he says, "Bombay, bye-bye."
Yeah.
And I'm like, you
Dubai. Yeah. Dubai, back to your fucking mother. Yeah. Go ahead.
Like, yeah, man. No wonder the stepson hates
He's just so, and that's a lot of the characters in this movie. They're just so cold. Yeah. He's so cold. And Jennifer Jason Leigh, to an extent, is very, very cold in this because she does say how her body can't take the machine anymore. Right. But this is her way through Vaz, how she can still, air quotes, be in the machine and get it and be as involved as possible. And that's what I like about this. And I've been a fan of Jennifer Jason Leigh, obviously, since I was a teen, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Yeah. Shit, Single White Female, she's great in that. Yeah. But even little bits, like when she's in Backdraft, when she's Billy Baldwin's girlfriend, you know what I mean? Yeah. And she's in Existence, where she was working with David Cronenberg. So I always thought that was kind of cool. She worked with, father and then son. And she's in this movie maybe 15 minutes, if that, sporadically. But she's so good. She's
integral. This goes back to what Mike was talking about, the way the script was laid out in the story. That character was needed. It wasn't a throwaway character. It wasn't just somebody being a shallow corporate head or the shadow figure. It was somebody that had to be there to explain what was going on. And it was weird because as cold as she was in the world that she was living in, she was the realist.
Yeah.
In it.
Yeah.
And that's
she wasn't evil, but she was definitely manipulative.
Oh yeah.
She wasn't this was just the job. This was the job. We kill people. And the idea, you see in that opening scene, it's just so awful where, the black girl who's the hostess, they crank the implant up and the tears start coming down her eyes. And you don't understand what it is the first time you're seeing it.
Right.
And you're just like, what the fuck is this? And then all of a sudden she just opens up with a knife on that guy. And I remember watching it the second time. And I'm like, oh, this poor girl, what part of her is inside not wanting to do this?
Right.
And so there's this constant identity struggle. As these things are happening, you're wondering what part is Vaz and what part is the host body.
And that's something that I was able to pick up the second time watching it.
Right.
Is because, when I'm watching it for my own channel, whatever, I sit down, I watch it, and then I bullshit for 10 minutes, and nothing scripted, whatever I can think of. But for like other people's channels, I sit down, phone is down, and I'm paying attention because I'm discussing with another person the film. You know what I mean? So I was able to pay attention a lot more. And then once you see Vaz struggling with the son-in-law, you know what I mean? The internal struggle, it made me think this girl in the very beginning, when she's crying, she realizes what she's doing. But she doesn't want to do it. It's beyond her control. Something's forcing her to do it. And that's really fucked up. You know what I mean? And then what I like about, again, we'll go to I think it was Jennifer Jason Leigh that questioned Vaz, why did you go for the knife? You know what I mean? When she
That's
had
what I
a
was
gun.
going to just bring up.
Yeah.
When she said it felt fitting. Because I was always wondering if that was Vaz reading off what the hostess was, having to probably kiss this guy and, his cheek and, to stick it to him type deal. That's to me, that's where the psychological things. This is why I would like to watch it again. Because like I said, this was my first time, but even just seeing it the first time, I'm going, there is a lot more into this than just the typical blood and guts and gore.
within the calm, underneath that, you feel that there's a lot of rage. You know, there's a lot of rage that you don't know if Vaz is tapping into the host body's rage at whatever.
Exactly.
Or, you know, it's Vaz's rage because it's obvious she is very frustrated with her life. And like I said, I started to talk about colors. You can see when she's like with her son and her ex-husband, all the color is very drab. It's very overcast. You know, the lights are very dim.
It's very dark.
Obviously, you can tell she's physically detached, you know, and emotionally detached from everything. Her husband's on top of her. She's not even, you know,
she's
present.
looking to I swear to God, I'm sorry. I was waiting for her to go like this with a watch going, are you done?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's how.
Wasn't she thinking of the murder when they were having sex? Because I believe they had a close-up of the knife when it was happening.
Right, but even more so than that, you saw before she even entered the house, she was rehearsing how to respond to people.
Right. That's right. Dinner
She's
sounds
acting.
good.
Everybody is constantly acting here.
Right.
Everybody, like there's somebody inside, like there's somebody inside one of these bodies, but the person inside the body is acting like the host.
Even the person who goes into the other bodies is still living two lives.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and it's an underused word, so forgive me. There's a lot of deceit in this movie with the characters. Yeah. And that's what I love. Like, I thought, I love the fact that when she was outside the house and practicing what to say, but when she was sitting with her son and the son showed her the robot and was talking to the mom, I honestly felt the genuine emotion was there when her son brought it out of her. The husband hasn't, but the son still has that connection, which goes to the tie at the end.
I didn't get that. I just thought that, you know, she just kind of stopped having to, like, she kind of picked up the movement again. You know, she was able to kind of just flow and roll
the routine.
With it, that kind of. The routine became familiar again. And you know, now I can just kind of roll with it.
It was weird because I picked it up from a warmth of a smile. She was practicing everything being polite and happy, but when she saw him, she genuinely gave him a grin and said, "You're really a bright boy, aren't you?"
Okay.
I think that genuine, which
that didn't last long, did it?
But that's the point. I think that's what makes it even sadder. You know, to the point, because that was like her, for lack of a better term, last grasp on that life.
Hold on a second. We got a couple of comments here. We got Mystic Mac. He says, "Cool movie. I enjoyed this one. Thanks for stopping by, man." And he said, "Much better than Infinity Pool, in my opinion." Yeah, I think Infinity Pool probably is the weakest of the three, but all three of them have these really original concepts, like concepts you've never heard of anywhere before.
Exactly.
So whether one plays out a little better than the other, that's a question for debate. But the concepts themselves, and none of them are bad. Some are just better than others. But I mean, this identity, someone's inside your body pretending to be someone else. The guy, I thought actually who stole it was a Christopher Abbott, who played Colin.
Yes.
The man that she inhabits to kill Sean Bean. 80 to 90% of his performance, he's pretending to be someone else.
Right.
He's pretending to be Vaz, who's pretending to be him.
Right.
And you think about this and you're like, this is just fucking genius. Like, this is just genius.
I love that scene. One of my favorite scenes is when she's prepping herself. She's watching him and his wife or girlfriend. I don't remember if they're married. Yeah, they are married. But she's watching them through a telescope, and she's listening to the way he's talking, and she's repeating everything he says just so she can get, the pronunciation right, the way he does syllables, stuff like that. And it's just on, and it just makes you wonder. What I like about how detached this woman is, Vaz, she's just so tired as well. Every time you see her, she's fucking exhausted. And that's why, I mean, I believe, John, when he says, like, her son kind of brought that little bit out of her. But it's also, she also looked so fucking tired in that
Yeah.
scene. I think it was part of the routine. I get it from my daughter. Dad, I want to show you this after I've just fucking worked 8 hours in a factory. Yeah, honey, what's up? Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. So I thought it was a little bit of that too, just because of the physical exhaustion that she just literally went through being in that girl in the jumpsuit in the very beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it shows, and you see as it goes on, and then Jennifer Jason Leigh also mentioned it. It takes a lot out of you, these machines and stuff. Just the machines in general, it takes a lot out of you physically. Not to mention the mental stuff too. So
it was a neat flick. I really did enjoy this movie.
It really is fantastic. I'm sorry, I was just looking for a new overlay, but I mean, what ends up happening is that because really Vaz, I mean, Andrew Riseborough isn't in it that much either.
No,
right.
It's Colin. Who did I just? Christopher Abbott, and Christopher Abbott is the new guy who's been cast in another remake of The Wolfman. So the guy who played Colin is going to be the new Lawrence Talbot. He's going to be the new Lawrence Talbot.
Okay, I didn't hear about that.
In another, because they were trying to get Ryan Gosling.
Okay,
I can see him pulling that off.
Longest time, but I think he's a little too big for it now. And so they've gotten Christopher Abbott, who will probably do a really good job if they give him a story, if they make it better than the Joe Johnston thing.
No more CGI werewolves jumping around, right?
I just tried to watch it again the other day, and I made it through about 30 minutes, and I think I got up to the part where Hugo Weaving walks in, and I'm like, man, this is bad.
I saw you post that on social media. I'm like, that's a typo. He meant to put the one from the 40s. No, it was
he meant the one with Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, that's not a bad Mike Nichols. That's a good movie.
Yeah, that is a good movie.
Somebody had mentioned this earlier today. How cold earlier in the stream? How cold everybody is in this.
Yes,
and when he comes home to see his girlfriend, they're doing lines off of a photo of them together.
Right.
Yeah, that's true love.
So everything is just disposable.
Yep.
Everything is just very disposable, and nobody really gives much of a fuck because.
Go ahead,
No. I was just
you were talking about
the lifestyle.
You were talking about the bright colors in this world, type deal. Like I thought it was ironic that when Voss, as the guy, went to work, and there were like these Lego block green is the best way I can describe it in the background. A lot of the colors were bright, and then I realized the colors in the movie were bright, but the people weren't. They were the dark, thing about it. Type deal. And especially in the world where, Bean is, and especially his house and type deal, everything is bright and shiny and vibrant, and everybody else is just so fucking dark. Warm colors, but the people are cold. It was really contradicting, which I liked a lot in it. Type deal. They weren't affected by, the atmosphere around them. What they were.
It's set up around 2008. It was kind of cool how they said that they actually got they had to get all these old cars, to go back into the neighborhoods and do all these sorts of things to, to make it, jump back about 12 years. But I thought that the most awkward parts were the part, and they were small scenes where Vaz actually jumps into her real life, and everything is just very awkward. And the colors, seem very muted, and there are lots of these sort of overcast blues, and things like that, as opposed to, when she's inhabiting one of the hosts where, everything's got this vibrancy going, the blue tracksuits, the red of the blood that's being spilled when she hits that guy in the neck, all these different things.
Right.
Even when you get to Sean Bean's house, and how, colored everything is. I mean, until he starts getting the shit kicked out of him with a fire poker. Yeah,
Brutal.
it's an
Brutal.
extremely violent movie. This is a very, very violent movie. Sticking the
In
fire
his
poker
mouth.
down his throat,
Yeah, that
breaking
was
off his teeth through his
Yeah, the
eye.
teeth.
And you're like, holy shit! This is just
him taking out his
pulling
eye.
no punches. Yeah,
Mhm.
pulling no punches.
What I liked about this, it was violent, but it wasn't violent just for the sake of it.
Right.
It had that when he they're like John said, they're assassins, so she has to make sure the job is
Mhm.
done.
Right.
It's not just like a me and Mike, the stereotypical garbage slasher movie that everyone loves. Let's
Right.
saw chick in half just because we can film it and say we did.
Right.
Even the close-ups of when the guy's pulling that thing out of his head in the implant in the bathroom.
Yeah.
We get close-up shots of the gore and the blood, but then it cuts away. So it has its purpose. You know what I
Right.
mean? And we get some bloody bullet shots and stuff like that. But again, it has a purpose. It's not just
Right.
and it's also like with the use of the colors. I'm gonna give a little Julia a shout out. Because we always kind of tease her about Argento. Argento films where people say it's more about the look than the actual product. And what I liked about this, this movie, as nasty as it is and as horrible it can be to watch with all these violent scenes, it's the colors and the beautiful look of it doesn't overshadow the story and the acting. So I think it works well with each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
Keep going for a second, guys. I'll be there in a second.
Okay. Another thing I really liked is
okay.
There's a lot of what the fuck moments here, and like the first time I watched it, I didn't know what to expect. So if you've seen my video where I discuss it, there's a lot of movies or a lot of scenes where I say I have to rewatch this because I don't know. Like I might have looked up or said goodnight to my daughter like the wrong moment, and now her face is all fucked up, and she's having sex with her husband. But it's all the two personalities, the two, I guess you say life forces or whatever, fighting each other, trying to separate.
Yeah. The two consciousness, the two personalities, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, Mike, go ahead. You were going where I was going. Go ahead.
I was going to say when he's having sex with his girlfriend, but then it becomes her and she's got a penis, and the things are just, they're so inverted and, there's so much overlap. And that's what ends up sort of driving the story is that Colin is able to extract back some of his own dominance within his own body, which causes everything to go fucking haywire. And he kind of goes off on and that's what's interesting about it is that it's not, she picks someone who's unstable.
Right.
He's doing a lot of cocaine. He's got a lot of anger issues. He's in a very bad relationship.
He's got a mistress.
He's got, the girl seems to, he's emasculated by his girlfriend and her position and her father. And so what ends up happening, what I thought was interesting was that once he seizes control, he goes on his own murder spree.
Right. Exactly.
Because every time that, with the exception of Sean Bean, that he kills someone, it's him. Like when he kills that girl in the shower, that's him.
Right.
When he kills that girl, that guy who pretended, is sort of the plant in the company, that's him.
Yeah.
Even when it gets all the way to the end where he finds, he finally can access her memory, her consciousness and her memories, and he goes to the home. When it's her ex-husband, he's the one doing the chopping. Now, the boy is a different matter, and we see visually who that is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But it's that, all these extra murders are just, and so you're wondering, how in charge is she throughout the entirety of this with the, with the knife in the beginning? Why did you use a knife? We gave you a gun.
Right.
Well, it also made me wonder because we find out that, Jennifer Jason Leigh is also helping her. She's attached to her as well. So I think that influence, especially with what happened with the boy, But it also makes me, when she was having these problems, when Vaz was having these problems, when the man was, I'm terrible with names, when the man was taking over, he was getting control back. The one nurse was saying, we got to pull her out. She's already coughing up blood, this and that.
Yeah.
Jennifer Jason Leigh's like, no,
Leave
she
her in.
stays in.
Yeah.
So she's the puppet master. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she, again, we know she wants Vaz to be detached. She doesn't want anything of this previous life with her. So it's that influence as well. So I don't know who is really in control other than maybe Jennifer Jason Leigh, because we don't find out she's zapped in with her until the very end. Unless I missed a scene of her going in.
No, and the ironic thing is that at some point they must have grabbed that boy.
Right. Exactly.
Something you never see. So that's been the ace. Apparently, that's been Jennifer Jason Leigh's ace in the hole the entire time.
Right.
She's got the boy.
I was going to say, so was Jennifer Jason Leigh controlling the son?
Yes.
Okay. That just clicked.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, she says, pull me out.
Yeah, when I heard that was the big, to me, the big startle.
Yeah, it's Jennifer Jason Leigh stabs Colin in the neck, which causes so. I mean, it's like a chess game.
Oh,
this is my move. I'm going to kill Colin, and then Vaz kills her son, and it's really Jennifer Jason Leigh, and then everybody gets pulled out at the same time, and the only people left standing are Vaz and Girder.
Yeah. I must have missed that pull me out line. It just clicked now. I thought maybe she was in with Vaz, you know what I mean, in the guy's body, but I had no idea until just now that she was in the body of Vaz's boy.
This is why
that's really fucked up, dude.
Right. Yeah. But that's
Holy
the point.
Shit.
Even like, I love the fact that it was the guy who was killing the husband, and then when she turned around and shot the son,
it's her.
It was Vaz.
It was her.
There was that. It was, and that's when he looked and said, "Pull me out."
Yeah.
I went, motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's my wife. Everything I thought was like, holy shit.
Wow.
Colin's like, I'll kill him. She's like, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
And, but that's going back to when they're sharing the body, when Colin was beating Sean Bean character. My argument was, I'm like, was that Vaz or was it Colin or was it both? Did they both enjoy doing that?
Yeah.
I was always wondering if she's not completely taking over anybody's body, but when she does it, if the body she's taking over, even though they don't want to murder her, they go, yeah.
My impression, go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say now it's really starting. It's making me think about. I don't know if it was you, Mike, or John, who said with the first victim, or who else you want to say, the young girl in the tracksuit. One of you guys mentioned that maybe she had some harassment with the boss or something like that. So if she's using that, that anger towards the boss, maybe she's using this guy's anger towards Sean Bean. And that's why it's so fucking vicious. You know what I mean? That's why it's not just, a knife to the neck. It's a fucking poker to the mouth and breaking teeth and stuff.
Here's the thing. I think on a basic level, everybody's got some rage.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody's got some rage, especially the overly nice people, all the time, right. You're just like, okay, buddy, relax.
Yeah. Relax. Yeah, everyone has a breaking point.
Yeah. Well, she controls that, and that's why it's called possessor, because it's like possessing.
Yeah,
he's
being possessed,
compelling the host body to do things that it doesn't necessarily want to do. But
and even in that scene where he attacks Sean Bean's character, when his girlfriend comes in, he uses the gun.
Yeah,
it's the violence is gone, and all of a sudden, like she was trained to do. Bang, 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 and then
it goes from personal with Sean Bean to professional with the girlfriend. Yeah, he becomes professional again.
That's what got me, because there was that moment, and I'm going, all right, is he/she going to do something or let her go?
This is what I mean by the identity crisis. Yeah, the identity crisis and the constant acting that's happening at all times in this movie.
Exactly.
And like I said, when she, when I just because I saw it right before we came on, and I hear the boy say, "Pull me out."
Yep.
And it's Jennifer Jason Leigh, and that's how they wake up next to each other. She's inside the boy.
I see again though that I was a little confused, but I'm like, wow, I must have missed the Jennifer Jason Leigh, air quotes, saying that. Wow.
This is definitely
I'm still trying to fucking process that. That's fucking fucked up, dude.
This is definitely
because that boy is probably 10.
10?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Well, something. Go ahead, John.
No, this is definitely a flick because me only seeing it for the first time today. This is definitely a flick that you got to see it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the Green
No matter
Knight.
what the rating system is, you got to see it again because I bet you would even change. Like the score that's popping in my head will probably change after I see it a second time. Only because
it's already changed for me. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
it's the score we're gonna give.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the thing.
Shit, I just completely lost my. Go ahead, John.
No, I have that effect on people, Mike. When I get going, I put you to sleep in a heartbeat, baby. No, I mean, there's a lot of there was like moments that were in this movie that just stood out to me that were just magnificent on characterization. Like when it was ironic that Voss was talking to her husband when the guests were over, and the husband was like complaining about the teachers, and he was a teacher, and blah 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 blah, and they were talking before they had sex, and it was boring. But then when Voss was in the guy, and they're talking to the girlfriends, and he was separated, or she was separated in the movie, and then all of a sudden, when they were talking, the whole sex taking a whole different opinion. It's what they're engaged in at the time. Their engagement actually amazed me in this.
Jennifer Jason Leigh at the beginning of the film tells her, you've become a danger to them.
Right.
Like, this isn't safe for you to be around them anymore. Because I think she was telling her the truth. She's manipulating her towards an end.
Right.
But I think as much truth as she can share and keep her on the path is what she's willing to do. But I think, if you're that detached, you're having sex with your husband and you're dreaming about stabbing somebody, you've become dangerous. Like, this isn't for, mowing the lawn and painting your fence ain't for you anymore.
Right.
It isn't what she wants to hear necessarily, but it's the truth. Does that mean that Jennifer Jason Leigh's, hitting below the belt here by grabbing her kid? Absolutely. But there's some truth there that even by the beginning of the movie, you can see that this isn't the life she's supposed to be living anymore. She has to rehearse before she, if you, let's say a military person goes off to war or whatever, they don't have to do that. They don't have to rehearse, the basic hello, how are you kind of things. And so before we even start to get to this, problem, we see that there is a problem. But I think real quick with the implant with Colin, I think where things started to get fucked up was when he was doing the monitoring thing.
Yeah.
He has to throw it off and run into the bathroom and he collapses. I think that's what fucked with the implant from the get-go. It was too intense.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
I think that's what that little blob was in the movie. Do you remember that? There was like a little blob in front of Colin when Voss was in the body.
Yeah, I think it was just
time he went to touch it, it went away, and the second time he touched it, and all of a sudden he got sick. To me, I always thought that was a symbolism of his own Colin's own mental defect type deal. Like it was like something that only she saw, and then when she touched it, it gave her an entrance back. Like an actual visual clue for the audience type deal.
It's a hell of a. I mean, Antiviral is Cronenberg's first film, and I'd like for us to get into that. But this is a hell. Yeah, this is a hell of a.
Do a triple. Do all three.
Let's do Antiviral next week. If people are up for it.
I'll tell you this. You know what this movie made me do? It made me want to see Brandon's other two films. It made me want to go back to his father's filmography, because again, it's I've only seen, The Fly, The Dead Zone, History of Violence, whatever, Existence. And then me and Mike, we found out when we did that little video we did about Mick Foley. I don't know how it came up, but there's a sister involved too. Brandon has a sister who is now getting involved.
You were saying something about that. Yeah,
who is now getting involved. She's got her first movie coming out. I'll look it up right now.
Put that credit in the texting group.
Nice.
Yeah.
Put that credit in the texting
cool.
group.
I actually like that.
So it makes me. It's cool now that we have this whole, because you mentioned the Skarsgårds earlier. It's cool now that the Cronenberg has this little family in Hollywood.
It's such a shame because, as usual, these are films that no one is talking about.
Right.
No one's talking about Possessor. No one's talking about Antiviral. No one's talking about
because Nev Campbell is coming back for Scream 7.
Right,
that's what's important, Mike. God damn, where you been?
Well, thank God I can go back to church.
Yeah, when the world can go back to spinning, and I've come so far as to look forward to this new A24 Crystal Lake series because Brian Fuller, the guy from Hannibal, is creating a Camp Crystal Lake series. So I'm like, okay, I'll give that a shot. But anybody or what's your favorite Carpenter movie? If I have to hear fucking Carpenter one more time.
Hey, Eric.
Yes, sir.
For David Cronenberg. If you get a chance to see Dead Ringers.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
That came out in like 1989. God, I'm trying to remember his name. He's an English actor who
is it
basically no, Jeremy Irons.
That's Dead Calm.
Yeah, Dead Ringers. No. I'm looking up right now.
No, it's not Dead Ringers.
It is Jeremy Irons. Jeremy Irons is Dead Ringers.
Yeah. He plays twin brothers who are psychiatrists, and one's evil and one's innocent.
Okay.
And it's a really good movie. In fact,
it's on Tubi.
It was
Apple TV.
Apple TV redid the movie as a TV series.
Oh, really?
And they flipped it. Instead of having a male, it was a female, and it was Rachel Weisz.
Ooh, really? I'll watch it.
Oh, yeah. I believe I don't know if it was Apple or Amazon, but it was because Rachel Weisz said when they offered it to her, she literally jumped at it. She said, "This is my favorite movie." One of my favorite movies. So she wanted to do it. She was really excited about doing it, but it's an interesting take, and it's creepy as hell.
If you're looking,
just added it to my Tubi list, and the daughter is Caitlin Cronenberg.
Okay, cool.
If you're my favorite Cronenberg is a little more modern. It's another Vigo movie called Eastern Promises.
There you go.
Okay,
that's a good one.
And it is about Russian mafia in London. Fucking Cronenberg did a mafia movie.
I love it when he steps out of horror, like the Dead Zone.
It's Naomi Watts. Vigo, Vincent Cassell. Vincent Cassell is so fucking good as this fucking lackey. He's the son of the mob boss, but he's like a train wreck.
Yeah,
and he's fantastic. And the father, Armin Stuhl. Yeah, John, help me. What's his?
I'm trying to remember. All I keep thinking of is the tattoos all over Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, yeah. He said that
all these like prison tattoos and everything else. It's a badass movie.
Yeah, all the Russian prison tats.
Yeah.
And he said when he went into because it's Vigo, he's a method actor, so he started hanging out in like Russian mafia bars.
Oh Jesus!
And he said people like literally really thought that he had come over like off the boat, like he was so authentic looking. Yeah. That they just assumed that he was some new guy in town or something. He's like, no, I'm just acting. And they would talk. He said they talked to him. They give him little tips here and there. Do this. Cool. This looks more authentic. It is fantastic.
That's a guy you can feature on here. Viggo Mortensen more than Lord of the Rings.
Oh man,
other movies that he's been in.
I mentioned in the texting group earlier. It's kind of cool that we moved it to the stream to tonight because tonight is David Cronenberg's birthday. Actually,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
happy birthday, David Cronenberg.
How old?
I'll look, but it's his birthday today.
Older than me, Mike.
I love it. I love it when David does. I know this is about Brandon, but I love it when David steps out of horror because the Dead Zone is fantastic. History of Violence is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
that's a good one too.
He was born on
Ed Harris. Ed Harris in that, man.
Yeah,
he was born on the Ides of March.
Yep.
Jesus, why did he do a version of Julius Caesar?
That's auspicious.
Come on, man.
He is
Absolutely.
81 years old.
How
David
old?
Cronenberg, 81
God
years
bless
old,
him. God bless him.
1943.
Thank you for all this, that you've given us, and you've given us fucking kids that are, we're talking about now.
And
Thank you.
he's still fucking working. He had a movie called Crimes of the Future that came out
Oh, I've got
2022.
that.
And
You
he's
got
got a movie called to be announced called The Shrouds. And
I heard of
it's got it just says an upcoming horror film from David Cronenberg, features a cast including Diane Kruger, Vincent Cassell, and Guy Pearce.
Really?
It says it's David Cronenberg's most personal film. Cassell plays Karsh, a grieving widower who builds an innovative device to help people connect with the dead.
Oh, that's right up his alley, man. Now I'm actually excited about seeing that.
I just think it's cool. The motherfucker's 81 years old and he's still making movies. God bless him.
Crimes of the Future.
Okay.
Vigo.
Who's in that?
Vigo. Kristen Stewart. And Leah Seydoux, who was James Bond's wife in the last couple of movies, the Daniel Craig movies, the French chick.
Because when you held up the poster, I'm like, I've seen that poster. I just didn't know it was David Cronenberg.
It's weird. I only saw it one time, and I'm like, this is fucking. Even for me, I'm like, this is fucking weird. But the body horror, man, is off the fucking hook.
I'm sorry. I still remember Videodrome. Sorry,
I haven't seen that one yet.
That will be prepared to stop it a couple of times to go, what?
I've seen a couple clips with James Woods and then the stomach. I'll say that, but
yeah, it's an interesting flick. Don't watch it stoned. That's my advice.
All right. Is there anything in this film that we have not discussed that you would like to, bring up now? Did we miss anything?
It was a little.
I don't think so. For me personally.
Okay.
The one thing I noticed, and I got to watch it again to make sure I'm remembering it right. The music. Where was it?
Yeah, I don't remember if there was any at all.
That's the point.
I don't
Usually
remember either.
movies like this, they'll sometimes put
That's a good
I don't
point.
think there
Score.
was any. And I sat there. I mean, unless it was like in the background at the party or something like that, there was no musical score.
Yeah.
That's what
I'm
kind
sure
of
there was.
I don't even remember. There must have been because I don't think the ending credits was completely silent.
No, it wasn't.
Well,
It wasn't.
No.
No.
Something like that would be, but it wasn't like like when they're doing the killing, it was like yank, yank, violins striking, or it was the actual body slams and stuff like that. That's the one thing I actually noticed was more, which kind of kept me in the movie because a couple things kind of took me out of the movie, but kind of some of the stuff took me in. That kept me there. So when you were hearing, I mean, we keep talking about the poker from the fireplace. To hear that smack and slap on the body type deal.
Yeah,
that was better than any.
That helps with the realism, not having a score when you have these violent acts. You know what I mean? It makes
That's what I like.
I don't want to say it makes it feel more personal, but you're more in the action than having.
I agree. And I kind of liked about that. And it could have been just a budgetary thing. We don't have the money to do it, so let's concentrate on this.
Mm-hmm.
But which I think is a good call, type deal.
All right. Well, let's get to the part in the stream where we rate the movie. This channel has a rating system that goes from 0 to 5, up by halves. So 0, 0.5, 1, 1.5, all the way to 5. So 0, for example, would be I'd rather have bad gas at my sister's wedding than watch this movie again, all the way to 5, which is this is the destination. This is cinema. This is why I watch films in the first place. John K. Alvarez, what would you give Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor?
I have to be honest, and this is what I was saying. I wish I would, if I could see it again and change it. Oh. Right now, when I first saw it, my initial thing was done, it was a 3.5. I've raised it in my head to a 4 now. There were some things that really took me out, and I couldn't tell it was because it was my state of mind when I watched it or that. Like, there was a lot of shots that I'm going, this reminded me of a college film. It was no particular reason. Let's shoot the ceiling of the house for like 5 to 10 seconds. I felt like they were trying to stretch the movie out because it was only 144 minutes. but 7 minutes of credits. It was 137 minutes.
It was 104, John. It was an hour and 44 minutes.
Yeah, an hour and 44 minutes. But I was more, to me, I would have been happy if it was an hour and a half without some of the gratuity, because it was pulling me out a little bit on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm giving it a 4. And I'm giving it also a 4 because Sean Bean didn't get killed.
Yeah,
you
gotta listen.
Yeah, Sean Bean survived.
Yeah, you gotta listen to the newscast.
You heard it over on the newscast, and I was going, God damn, all right, I'll give you that, man, for just keeping the beaner going.
He should have, like, in his contract now, every movie he does until he dies or until he retires, that he just gets to live now.
He did. There was a TV show.
Side.
There was a TV show he did about 10 years ago for TNT.
Mm-hmm.
It lasted about 3 seasons, where it was like a spy film. And they turned around and said, TNT is starring a TV show with Sean Bean, and we will make this promise. He will not die. That was their slogan the first year. And it was funny because there was
nobody's going to want to watch it, man. Nobody's going to want to watch it.
But that's the point. They're showing actions. And somebody's shooting at him, and he's jumping off a cliff and will not die. He promised to live through the series.
That's funny.
I laughed out loud. I'm like, well, I'll watch the opening credits just for the hell of it. You know, it was actually a good series. It was like James Bond on a daily life type deal, a weekly series. He did a good job. Can't remember the title of it, but he did a good job.
Fair enough. Eric, what do you got for us? Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor.
I brought up The Green Knight earlier, just briefly, and it was the three of us that were talking about it. And in that video, in that review that we did, the conversation helped with my score.
Right.
And like John says, I'm pretty sure, John, your score will change with the second viewing. My score definitely changed with that, but this conversation helped. Originally, I was going to give it a 4. But when I found out that what Jennifer Jason Leigh did at the end with the son, and what this conversation is helping me understand more, I'm giving this a 4.5. Okay. And it's because of a lot of these things that come out with a second or possibly third viewing. You know what I mean? Because if it wasn't for this conversation, this is not a film you can watch, every couple months. You put this baby away for a while. I'm not going to watch this for a while, but I wouldn't have been able to pick some of this stuff up without the three of us talking about it. A lot of that moment with the kid blew me away. But the acting, the use of colors, it's not like Argento that relies on the colors, that just helped.
Right.
The acting, just the whole plot itself. I agree with John. They could have maybe cut out maybe 10 minutes, maybe, whatever. I'm not gonna, that's just kind of nitpicking for me. But yeah, definitely a 4.5. But like I said before, and like John said, you have to be in the right mood, because if you're not in the right mood and you turn it off, give it another shot when you're in a different mood, when you know what you're getting into, kind of, or maybe do a little bit of research. I think you can view it differently.
You have to be in a place where you can actually pay attention.
Yes.
This isn't something where you sit on the couch talking to somebody. I don't think you want to be. I mean, I don't smoke weed, but anymore. Last time I smoked weed was about 5 or 6 years ago. You don't want to do that, because you're not going to be able to catch the small details. No. There are so many small details that are constantly rolling throughout this. So many small visuals that it just kind of blur together. So you have to bring your attention span to this movie, and be able to sit down and concentrate and focus on this. You don't want to do it while this is not a movie you put on so you can have something to ignore. I did that about a month ago with Silver Bullet. And I was kind of in the mood for, don't ask me why. I was in the mood for Silver Bullet. I think it's still over. Yeah, no. And, I own it. I own a copy. So I understand. But, this ain't that. This is a very layered sort of story going on, and you need to be paying attention all the time. For me, acting. The whole movie is about acting. Yeah. That's the theme of the movie. It's acting. Everybody's acting all the time.
Yeah.
And people are acting to, pretend to be someone else. For me, I'm going to go with well, before we get there, I should say Bill gave us his score, and it was 3.5. Now, he didn't say why. He said he liked it,
Okay.
but he gave it a 3.5, and it's Bill. He's conservative
Okay.
with, his scoring.
Right.
So am I for the most part.
Still fair.
But I'm not as conservative as Bill. I'll give this a 4.5. I don't know. I don't have the criticisms in terms of the long shots, maybe in the house or anything like that. I was fine with it, the way that it was. I don't know what the minute and a half was between the red and the yellow version.
I do.
What was it? What was it?
It's quite literally the eye being poked out and the two penis.
Oh, is it? Okay, so it's
Two
like the difference between
shots,
R and
what it is.
NC-17. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it, that's
Yeah,
basically what it was. It was considered.
Okay.
Somebody said it's like literally I'm just like a minute and a half, and that was
Because-
This is not rated. This has no rating.
Yeah, Mike.
Right.
Mike sent me the DVD. Mike sent me was the R-rated cut.
Okay.
And then the one I watched tonight was unrated, and I didn't notice the difference. So thank you for telling us about the two penis shots, John. We appreciate that.
Okay.
No, that's what a guy. I saw a thing
Yeah.
on it because I keep hearing it's like, what's the difference between the two movies?
Mhm.
And this guy goes, unless you watch it side by side, you won't notice it.
Yeah.
It really
You
is
won't
like
figure out what it is.
Yeah, I didn't remember.
It's the cock shot and the eye getting gouged out.
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
fire.
getting gouged
Which-
out. I'm like, all right, I got that.
Okay.
No biggie.
All right. That works.
I thought it would be the teeth getting busted.
Oof.
That grossed me out more than the eye.
That's in the rated cut, and trust me, I did not forget that.
Yeah. Yeah. This
I was like,
isn't
oh God.
this
And
is
he
not
lived.
family friendly.
Running Man.
I just imagine Sean being, that happens to him and he lives, and then he just says, "How you still can't kill me now?"
Yeah. I'll be
It's in the
talking like
contract.
this when I'm alive.
It's in the contract. You
In the
bastards.
contract.
I get to live, and you do not. So we've got a great piece of storytelling. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, John, you got anything you want to plug?
The show, but I'll get closer to it. Our friend Ryan is directing me in a version of Much Ado About Nothing in South Jersey at the Gateway Theater in Summers Point. It'll be the 19th, 20th, and 21st of April, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, Ryan, forgive me. The next time I come on, I'll correct it if I'm wrong. But it's a good cast. It's a good show. It's a good group of people. And it's a lot of fun to do. And I get to play because he put it in 1958 Florida. He wanted me to play a guy named Dogberry as a Southern cop type deal. So I'm possibly going to be wearing an outfit from 911 Reno 911 and talking Shakespeare with a Southern accent. That
You
alone
critique justice over here.
I pay to see
All right.
that.
Yeah. We'll talk to him. Maybe we can get some sort of stream going or something where people can
That'd be cool.
actually see it if
Yeah.
you're not from, if you're not in the area. I'm sure people on the in the chat would probably want to see it. So,
That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
all right, Eric. Anything you want to plug? The channel.
Hey Internet, Eric here is my YouTube channel. Unless otherwise requested, this whole year on my channel is going to be films I have never seen, and the only one so far that I want to promote is Glengarry Glen Ross. That was an amazing film that just relies on acting. Go
Mehmet.
figure. You get
David
a
Mehmet.
good actor, and then holy shit, Mike, recommended it. Hit a home run. I have a video for the last voyage of the Demeter up.
There you go.
That was a damn good fucking vampire movie.
Yep.
And my plans for the rest of the year, like I said, I'm gonna throw in. I just got Slapshot. I want to do some comedies I've never seen. I've never seen Slapshot of all
Oh,
things.
God, I love that movie.
I've never seen from beginning to end the Blues Brothers, so I'm going to
Nice.
discuss
There
that
you go.
one. And then I'm finally going to. I've been telling Mike for fucking 6 months the Wreck movies, but I was waiting because I just got part 4 in, so I'm going to go through all 4 Wreck movies.
Very
And
nice.
then honestly, I think the next movie or next I guess you'd say review I'm going to do. I'm going to hold off to next week because I am a huge fan of The Crow, the original one,
Right.
The original one with Brandon Lee. The new trailer came out. People are either all for it, people are all against it. I know, Mike, you said you weren't interested,
No,
but
no.
I'm the thing is, if you're not interested, that is, God bless you. You don't have to be. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
the thing is, I kind of want to bring up just how how kind of fucking stupid some people are, in my opinion, with the reasons why. The movie's going to suck because of the song they used in the trailer. That has no reason. There's no reason to hate a movie for that. Or they talk about, this is taking a crap on Brandon Lee's legacy. Well, maybe if they had better safety precautions, he wouldn't have a legacy. He'd still be acting. So, I've had my little tiffs with people online just because of they really think that Jason Momoa, who they were going with before, would have done a better job than Bill Skarsgård, regardless of, the final product.
Really?
There's a big difference between acting with Bill Skarsgård and Jason Momoa. You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to do that once I do a little bit of air quotes research. You know what I mean? Because it's really frustrating. You know me, Mike. I like a lot of trash. I like a lot of garbage movies. So I have no room to judge anyone for not wanting to see a movie, not liking a movie. But if you give dumb bullshit reasons like that, come on. A lot of these people weren't even born when The Crow came out. And a lot of them just like it because they have a fucking Hot Topic shirt with Brandon Lee on it. So I'm probably going to discuss that a little bit.
Here's one for you for a little movie trivia. Way back when The Crow was being made, they were toying around with the idea of doing the X-Men movie then.
Oh, really?
They were talking about it, and Brandon Lee was up to play Wolverine. Back because that was the beginning of it. His career was just starting to arc, and they were considering, because of all the martial art moves, they were originally going to play the Wolverine character more like the samurai with the claws and everything else, like it was in the comic books back in that time. But he was seriously up for consideration until the accident on the set. But it was like, what? I'm like, are you kidding me? Nothing against Hugh Jackman. I liked his interpretation of it. But the original style that they were going for was that it was going to be him going in Japan, like they did in the comics and everything else. But they were seriously thinking about him playing him. That deal. Only because he had the martial arts moves down.
Interesting.
Hold on a second. What's it? Oh, Max, what is he saying? Might as well just make this a premiere. No sense on a live stream if you don't wish to address the live chat. You have to stay in the chat for us to actually address you. We were there. We talked about you.
Yeah. That's why
we
just
said
commented. Thank
you. We did say thank you. Sorry you didn't stick around to hear it.
Yeah, because we mentioned we talked about Infinity Pool. So
yeah. No problem. All right. So for this channel, I'm going to be putting this up on my social media, up on X. This new channel. Well, it's not a new channel. It's been around for a while. American Werewolf EU. Where I will be moving live stream from here on out, live stream content will be on this channel. So whatever happens, episode 220, so on and so forth, will be here on this channel. Standard American Werewolf will probably be going to relevant content, and we'll see what happens with that. And then I want to see if this weekend, and I've been talking about it for more than a month now, I'd like to get the first video for She-Con up. The Samurai channel I have had up and running. My good friend Josh Seger actually crafted a cool little 60-second music soundtrack for me, a little score with some authentic Japanese sounding music going on there. So that's going to be cool. And maybe if I can knock it out this weekend, I think this might be one of those weekends I end up staying home, having to do a lot of things. That's probably not going to be a big move around weekend. I was thinking about going to see Immaculate, the Sydney Sweeney nunsploitation movie, but I don't know if I'm going to. It's not playing at my local cinema, so I'd have to go, a little bit further away. I don't know if I feel like doing that, but maybe I'll stay home and get all this kind of stuff done. This weekend, that will be good.
I may actually catch Caprini when I go into work.
Caprini is fantastic.
I heard that from people who have walked out with it. I may catch, and growing up in Philadelphia, going to school, Roman Catholic school, they talked about Mother Caprini all the time.
Yeah,
and
if you're just catching this, Cabrini is released by Angel Studios, who initially was doing The Chosen. And Jim Caviezel's movie last year, Sound of Freedom, which was like the #1 movie in America for a couple of weeks, which was about child exploitation. and they have a new movie out with no stars. No, there's John Lithgow's in it, but he's in it in a very small role as the mayor of New York. And it's about the first American saint, who was this nun to come over to America on orders from the Vatican to found a mission to help Italian immigrants who experienced a great deal of discrimination by other people in New York. I guess the Irish and the Protestants, and that sort of thing in the 5 boroughs of New York. And it's just a fantastic film. I caught it last Sunday. If you get a chance, definitely go see it. So, okay. I guess that's it. We are back at least for the first live stream in 6 weeks. I imagine we will be back next week. We'll see if we can put it together. My thanks to John K. Alvarez, and my thanks to Eric from Hey Internet. Eric here.
Good to be back, dude.
Yeah, man, it's good to see everybody again. It had been 6 weeks. So, I mean, the first thing I was checking with John, just how things going in general, that sort of thing. We will see you all in the next video. All right, take care, everyone.
Peace out.
Cheers.